And we're live.
And we are live. And welcome to Spoken Openness. This is episode 31.
Ooh. 31.
And we are starting with a quote once again, as per usual. And
Classic.
this one was pronounced by Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde.
Or Wilde.
Wilde.
Wilde? Wilde?
Yep. German, I think.
Irish, maybe?
German-Irish.
He said, "The truth is rarely pure and never simple."
Can you say that again?
The truth is rarely pure and never simple. Well.
So
what do we
is,
make of that?
Truth is complicated.
Truth is complex.
Truth
Yes.
is, in some senses, I guess, because maybe you could think of finding, like, most accurately saying something that's true would be crazy complex. But I think you can say things that are true.
Agree. When
That are
they're
also simple.
mostly true, right? If they're what he's referring to as pure truth, then
Pure
that's
truth.
almost no hesitation, right?
Yeah, so that's maybe something that has to account for all the variables, all the possible contradictions, all of the biases, all of the everything. And then it would
Yeah.
have to just be like 100% dialed in.
Sure.
It made me think of also the notion of, I'm not even going to try to name the person or accurately give this quote. So just all I'm saying is
Yeah.
someone said this, or this vibe, the vibe of this idea.
This idea happened.
I'm going to start going with just the vibe of quotes with no attribution or it's
love it.
something like the best, like the most intelligent way to say someone like a very intelligent person is able to say complex ideas in a simple way. Or maybe it's if you really
Yeah.
understand something, then
Totally.
you can explain it in the simplest way possible, but no simpler. I think that's like the thing that's added on the end to the vibe of the quote is like you should say it as in the simplest way possible, but no simpler than that.
Right. Don't take away anything that should be there.
Has to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there are some ideas or there are some things that are, explained in a fairly simple way that are pretty truthful. But I guess if we're talking about, if Oscar Wilde is talking about like 100% pure truth, then yeah, you're going to have to say a lot and account for everything.
I was thinking about it actually the opposite way. I was thinking about the pure truth being a very easy to digest idea or possibility or event that happened. Maybe now I'm getting into facts, and I would like to maybe get into differentiating facts from truth. But I was maybe thinking that anything other than pure truth is actually more complex, has way more layers, has a way longer rabbit hole, so many different variables that you have to go through, because truth is not absolute. In many cases, you encounter pieces of truth or things that lead you to a certain conclusion, but you're always going through the search, and there are some other things that are just 100% true, pure truths. You can pronounce them and they just feel right.
Can you think of a pure
I don't know.
truth?
I am.
Are you?
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Though?
Well, I did pronounce that, didn't I?
A pure truth could be that when The majority of people who look up think that they see the sky.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I put in caveats there to avoid,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
that people see the sky, they think they see it often. The majority of people would see the sky. Obviously, there would be some people who wouldn't.
That made me think of another one. For
Yeah,
example, people saying the sun sets when the sun is when the sun is
we're spinning.
yeah, we're spinning, and so you're the conclusion is not true. And
Right.
it's so common to say that, the sun is hiding below the horizon or something like that.
Yeah, unless you want to define the sunset as the sun going behind the horizon as the earth spins. But it
But
but yeah,
it's implying that we're stable, the sun is moving, when it's the other way around,
yeah. Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. It's language. I mean, terminology, minor details.
One thing I was thinking about was this idea you were saying you're exposed to pieces of truths, and you're kind of out there, you're getting data, you're confronting it, and there's like little pieces of truth here and there, and you got to look over there, you got to get a little truth over there, and you go look over there, and you're getting little pieces of truth that are like mixed in with not truth. It's just everything's kind of mixed in. It's like you're getting a
Yeah.
blend of stuff, and then you have to try to use your mental faculties to piece together and weave those pieces into something that might make sense. And maybe that's kind of like the idea of abstracted truths, I guess. You could think of like in myth and story of like, oh, you could think of, oh, a town or as humans evolved as social animals, and you had all these interactions, and then eventually people are like, oh, when people have an interaction like this, that's good. It's like usually a good thing. And so then over a long period of time, then people are like, oh, this is what's good. It's like when you do this kind of action or this kind of action or this kind of action, and you don't do this kind of action, that is bad, not good. And then eventually,
Yeah.
we have this idea that's true. That's just like, oh, all these things are are within the umbrella of like what seems to be good in a social setting, or like what seems to be um, desirable in a in a
Yeah.
society, or between humans who are collected in a
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
geographical area.
and relating to one another and creating more suffering than necessary, etc., etc. So maybe
That's
the beginning
humans do
of
that.
yeah. So maybe the beginning of how to behave, maybe let's call that morality, or yeah. Maybe the beginning of that is the coming together into a common understanding of what truth is and what truth is not, and collectively trying to figure that out.
Well, yeah, it's almost like the ability for people to get along and to do anything at all requires everybody to, on average, have the same collection of things that they think are true as the person they're dealing with. I mean,
Yes.
everybody has to think that a road is a road, and that a stoplight is a stoplight, and that when you just everything that we do, we have to believe like, oh, this is true, and this is what we've all agreed upon. It's something that's
Yeah.
everybody's agreed upon. Let's say sometimes those aren't necessarily truths, um, or I'm not sure. I'm getting kind of
Yeah.
squirrely
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
myself.
Well, that's the thing I was proposing. Like, if the main building block of morality is the idea of truth.
Is it truth or is
And
it something agreed upon?
let's say it's something agreed upon, that we are in the attempt of achieving a common understanding of. And so if there is truth, or if there is a thing that we can call the truth, that might be a different conversation. But at least in a social level, there's a
Yeah.
phenomena where we have this idea of truth
Yes.
and lie. And if that doesn't exist, then I think all other more subtle ways of morality just don't have a basis.
Yeah, regardless of whether or not you think moral relativity is a good or a bad thing, regardless of whether you think you're more relativist, you can't deny that there is the existence of moral moral relativity. It exists within human societies, groups of people that have an agreed upon idea about what is a good or a bad thing. I don't know if that necessarily correlates to truth, as we were saying. So that this might be where the idea that morality stems from truth. It
Yeah.
maybe it stems from, abstracting behaviors that everyone thinks are desirable, and that isn't always necessarily something that's true, maybe, but at the end point, if you proclaim the abstraction, then you're kind of saying something that's true.
Okay. Yeah. So hold on. If you correct me if I'm wrong. If someone's a moral relativist, that means they don't believe in truth, right?
Am I Mr. Answer guy right now?
I think so.
If
Yeah.
you're-
What would you
can you say
say
that
in
one more
a
time? Can you say
in
that
a
one more
general way? If you're a moral relativist,
Yeah.
that means you don't believe there's such a thing as truth, or you believe that truth is contextual, 100%.
I think that it's a separate question than I think that it's a separate topic than truth. That's why I think that there's these things that what we're
Okay.
talking about are separate. I think they're totally separate. Because you could have two groups that have completely different moral systems that would all agree upon truths, like if I drop something, it's going to fall. And so then you're having to then you're going to have to be in a place to argue that someone's moral position is a statement of truth, and that's where I don't think that there's as strong a connection there, but I could be missing something, because when I get to there, I have a sense that that's true, but I'm not firing in all cylinders today, so my mind kind of goes blank after I get to that point in the in the idea.
I would say there's so many aspects of truth that it's also very easy to get lost in this conversation.
Yeah.
And that just made me think, for example, if someone did something horrible to you, because I don't want to say something specific, but let's say someone does something horrible and he gets away,
Hey,
they
man.
get away with it, right?
Yeah, what? Really? No one
yeah.
caught them?
So now you have the question of,
That sucks.
yeah, now you have the whole, we need to investigate, or we need to either yeah so this guy can't be just running around free. He
Allegedly
needs
a
to
guy we
be-
don't even know. We don't even know anything about this person.
Yeah, I am misgendering the person.
So we need to we need to do some research. We need to look for elements of truth within what happened. Is that where you're going with this?
My whole thing is, if you make the stakes very high,
Yeah.
then you're more in, you have a greater need for truth instead of being easily flexible with it.
But you could
And
also be in a greater need of revenge, of so many things that might color what you're looking for. You might
yeah,
not be motivated for truth. You might just be motivated for I don't really care who it is, but I need a scapegoat and I need to whatever. I need to
totally.
feel like someone got their comeuppance.
Yeah, and you're gonna blame it on someone that probably didn't do it, right?
You're more likely
Yeah.
if you're just looking for revenge. That's probably true.
Yeah.
But
I feel like a lot of the old Greek dramas play around this idea. And you know, if we let that go, if we are, I guess it's not that binary. Like it's a talk about percentages. If we are more and more flexible with truth, then I feel like danger is coming. So I don't know, like,
I have no idea what that means.
yeah, if you get flexible with truth, danger is coming. What does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Oh, I get it. No, I think I,
Yeah.
I think I get it.
Please help me.
I think I get
Please.
it. I think I get it.
Okay.
I think what that claim would be is the statement that's kind of saying like, look, if you've got the wrong idea about what the world is, you're in trouble, and you need to know what the truth is. You know, I need to know that. I think this is the same example, but I need to know that it's true that if you just start running around on the highway, you might get hit by a car. You got to know that. If you're under some illusion that cars don't hit people, that's like your understanding of what truth is. You're like, oh, cars, they go through people, they don't hit people. Then you're gonna get crashed, and it's gonna be very painful, very painful. You don't want that. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Exactly. Right.
So
that's why we have some rules.
Yeah.
So that order is kept and chaos does not get out of control.
What do you mean the rules?
Rules like a speed limit.
Okay, but you also have to be someone that thinks like that's a true sign and that's true, and I'm not, and that's that sign was put there by an authority that isn't just trying to confuse me, and that's an actual speed limit, and that I understand what kilometers are, and I know that the numbers correspond to instructions, and I know that that's a truth, and so there's infinite levels of understanding that you have to have.
Yeah.
In order to, man, this makes life sound real tiring.
Life is so hard.
Dude,
that's why
so
we
much
started with
work.
that quote, which the truth is complex.
Man, if we break this down, now I'm like thinking I have to like have so many truth claims just to go the speed limit.
That's why it's easier to just be relative about it. Just flexible is easier.
In that case, it probably won't work out very well. You're probably gonna get pulled over, and then you're gonna have to confront your false truth. You're gonna be like, no, that's not. That sign is put there by crazy guys, and eventually someone's have to be like, no, that's the real sign, and eventually you're gonna have to say, okay,
yeah.
Understand.
And that word is key. The crazy word is key. If you get, that's a word people use to say these guys do not know the truth.
You're not gonna see correctly if you are crazy.
Exactly.
I believe is the common phrase.
You have to be don't see.
Yeah, I think that's
that's
another Oscar Wilde quote, but I'm not sure. So
Well, another Oscar Wilde quote, he said something around the only thing I can never resist is temptation.
oh,
He was playing around with words like that.
that's like men are slaves to the passion. Men are slaves to the passions, or that's a David Hume quote, I think.
Don't trust that
This
guy.
episode is
I'm
called
just kidding.
"Quote Me Wrong." Or
Yeah,
just-
yeah, yeah.
Hey, what are we looking at here? We're kind of. I'm taking everyone behind the scenes. Where we're looking at about 20 minutes here.
Yeah,
We had something we wanted to talk about today. Should we kind of meander into that before
Do you
we
want to
get,
switch waves?
we
Let's
get
switch
too
waves and
deep into this time? The time is ticking.
I think like this 20 minutes is setting us up to what's coming. And
Yeah.
I'll let you introduce the new wave and we'll try to surf it for as long as possible.
Sure, I appreciate you passing the torch over to me to introduce
Yeah, that
this.
was easy. Now you have the hard part.
Yeah, I think I think this was kind of like a follow-up to the last episode, which would make logical sense because this is the one that comes after it, and this is and that's what we
Yeah.
were talking about it there. So it would only make logical sense to continue upon the flow of ideas,
same
waves,
narrative.
the kind of the
Yeah.
the sesh
Chronological.
chronological
Phenomena.
chronos.
Yeah.
So we were talking about alternative ideas. We were talking about going down, searching for information that contradicts what a quote unquote mainstream narratives, or we were discussing the concept
Yes.
of, hey, even if you hold something that you're so sure is true, it still benefits you sometimes, and there's a limit to this, and we could talk about that, but it still benefits you to look to investigate,
Attempt, yeah.
attempt to just check out what else is going on in the idea sphere that
Check
may
it
be
out.
different to what you're thinking about or what you believe, and at the very least you're going to come away maybe with a stronger sense of clarity about your position. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you can feel better about where you stand. You're on some more solid ground.
Yeah.
And then I think, and we can jump into that, and I'll just kind of finish the summary of kind of where we were heading, and then we were also discussing the idea of ideas and the marketplace of ideas, and I think we were going to straw man why maybe some ideas could be dangerous.
Totally
to
dangerous.
the general populace if
Yeah.
they took that information in.
If you see, you can't unsee.
If you see, you can't unsee.
So
Hopefully, it doesn't make you crazy.
hopefully it doesn't make you mentally blind.
So, how do you feel about what kind of tree branches does that set off in your
So many branches. It's
metaphysical
fractal.
unconscious?
This is fractal. You can't even count the. It's exponentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I think we should stick with attempting to understand why someone would attempt to blame or blame danger, blame actual physical violence
Yeah. Okay.
to an idea, a
Right.
thought. It's just a thought. It's a piece of text. It's a piece of audio.
Yeah.
It's just someone speaking their mind.
Yeah.
Why is it dangerous?
So let's first go to the end of the spectrum to say that let's steel man, and it doesn't really need steel manning, but we could kind of pick it apart. If someone writes a direct actionable thing like, hey, this person's got to go.
An
Let's
order.
take 'em out.
Direct order.
A direct order. Look, this is an order to all my followers.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's say you've got 10,000 followers. Some of them are bots, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll have robots assassinating people, and that's even worse.
Ten
But
percent of those will share, and 2%, 1 to 2% will take action.
yeah, yes.
Hmm.
So let's say someone says, "Hey," and they name a person, and they
Yeah.
live here. Google Maps dropped pin.
Whoa. Yeah. They hacked their address.
Go get them.
Yeah.
That's even more vague. Not go get them. Go kill them.
Directly
Yeah.
specific.
It's just
Yeah.
go get them already. A lawyer is like, you never said.
Totally.
But let's say he says, go assassinate them.
Mm-hmm.
And they clarify. And by assassinate, I mean terminate their life.
100%?
100% terminate their life.
Okay. Got it. Understood.
And then they edit it and they say, this is not a joke. I am 100% serious. Please do as I say. I'm out of I'm out of the country. I can't personally do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on business.
And then you can add blackmail to that. And if you don't, I will X and Y.
I've got the nuclear codes.
Whoa.
So this is a serious.
Yeah.
This is serious. We've kind of added almost too many layers.
Now I feel like we need a lawyer here.
All right, yeah. So we said we'd take it to the end. So that sounds like you should probably maybe take that off, or let's say that's on social media platforms. Can you answer guy me about saying like why we shouldn't take that off?
I can try.
Why should we leave
try,
that?
But you're making it so hard. But I like the extreme, like attempting to. If you can do this with the extreme.
Yeah, my favorite part is that he's on
feel
business and he can't get to it.
So the guy is in the Bahamas. He could totally go offline. You can't find it.
Yeah.
Him. Interpol can't reach him.
No.
Okay. But you can call Jack and tell him, "Hey, Jack.
Yeah.
Just put this down."
Yeah.
You know. Mm-hmm.
Remove,
please.
or the AI looks at it.
Mm-hmm.
So
totally. Well, he did say write the word KILL. So the algo would pick that up and they'll be like, "Hey, red flag here."
So let's consider one thing. Let's consider having to know the intention behind the post. Let's imagine the guy was a comedian.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's all a hoax?
It's just a joke. He's like, look, it's a joke. I said I was on business. I don't have the nuclear codes. I'm in the Bahamas.
Of course.
I'm not even in the Bahamas. I don't have enough money to travel, and we're all locked. Oh. I don't know what the AI is looking for in videos on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the point is, let's say you have to know what the intention is. Right? And does that matter? Does that matter?
Yeah, you need to know motive before Yeah, I agree. That's why we have laws. Like, I don't want to get into laws, but for example, the innocence principle, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, but okay, but I'm gonna steel man the argument. You got to take that off. I mean, you got to take it off and then figure out what the intention was. If it's something that's so direct, maybe
prevention.
I can see how maybe like that's kind of limits, and we can explore the idea. But it's like you can't just say go kill this person.
So
right?
So okay. So an order is not an idea, is it? Because an order is a call to action.
Yeah, but then you have to define call to action as well. You have to. So
a specific verb.
Yeah.
Specific verb. Yeah. And directed to another individual in a specific manner.
Yeah, and let's say it's. And can we add the legal aspect to it? So like if you're calling to action something that's not legal, it's just kind of not great. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, then
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that then should that be? So here's the thing. It's like this conversation is what is and what shouldn't be, what should and what is and what
Mm-hmm,
shouldn't,
mm-hmm.
what should and what shouldn't be allowed on the public sphere of social media, or I mean in public too. Like if you're just walking on the street, what should you and should you not be able to say? I think those two should
Yeah.
be connected, right? I mean, I don't think there should be different rules that are applied online than offline, but maybe we can try to steel man why
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that would be the
I
case. Is that because
guess
there's
we
bigger
could.
reach online? The idea is that you have a megaphone and you have so many, especially if you have lots of influencers, then there's a larger group that you're ordering to do something, and that
Mm-hmm,
increases
mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm.
danger or increases the potential
Yeah, 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 yeah.
danger of the thing.
So let's say we can be rooted in the certainty that a specific dangerous call to action was made online,
Yeah.
and we're fine that it's getting pulled off.
Yeah, even in this case,
Then
take away the joke aspect of I'm on business. Just to say someone said, "Hey, everybody,
yeah,
go kill this person," and they mean it,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
and like yeah,
You're just talking about life termination, and so we can't allow this.
yeah, they're talking
We're
about
fine.
LT.
We're fine. But then we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about, hey, did you see this happened? And did you see this guy? Did you see the thing? Did you see the reaction to blah blah blah? And then what happens when those opinions about the thing also start to get pulled off? Do we want to get there?
Oh, I see.
Because then I feel like this position has been taken before by some of these platforms where they not only ban the event but also opinions about the event. And
Yeah. And I haven't really
I don't know.
delved too deep into what's happening in the public discourse around these things, so I hadn't thought of that. So I'm kind of like I'm the control group that's just like, let me think about this as a person, and I don't know the things. But yeah, that's an
Yeah.
interesting. Because I guess the argument would be that if a bunch of people are responding to it, then people are going to say, oh, what was the person, what did they say? And they're like, oh, they said go kill this person. And then they're basically just saying the same thing. They're just responding to it. And so then if the first thing was bad, then people are going to find out that person, and if that person has a lot of influence, then anyone who would be motivated by what they said would still be motivated by the thing, because they would be like, oh, he said that and then they took it down, I'm going to go do that thing. I mean, who is that though? Seriously,
Yeah.
who is that person though? Seriously, who? Like now, I'm just questioning. Like, who is a person that's gonna listen to someone say something like that and then just like an automaton go and do the thing?
Yeah, I mean the human will is corruptible.
Yeah, I get the idea is just that
Yeah.
that the followers are followers, and
Yeah.
the idea is that because there's a chance that someone like a Manchurian candidate will just automatically go do the thing that the person they follow tells them to do, then that worry is great enough to pull the thing. I guess there's people out there that
Yeah.
would do that. I can't imagine
Yeah, I
doing
mean,
that,
they're-
but
For sure.
because
But
then you
I-
have to
we
then
can
you have
get
to look
into it.
then you have to look at the instances of people. I know there's cases of this. I can't recall any of them where people have gone and done something and then said like, I did it because I watched Planet Earth. You know what I mean? Like just something that wasn't a direct call of action, and then you're like, people just do things for arbitrary reasons also. So
Yes. Yeah. There's I think it's Van Goethe, Goethe.
no idea.
Van. Goethe.
Van Goethe?
Goethe? I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's. Anyway, he
Yeah,
said something around.
got it.
Don't attribute to conspiracy what can be blamed on stupidity.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that similar? Maybe it's the same thing. Don't attribute to malice what can be attributed to. I almost had it. And then
Almost same thing. Yeah,
I
yeah. I've also heard
crashed.
that one. This is
I crashed
totally
at
the
at the end.
this is the misquote episode for sure.
I was so confident too. I was like, do not attribute to malice what can
Yeah.
stupidity or
This is a misquote and misspell episode.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now
I
I'm just kind of
agree.
confused about this thing, but look, let's I
Yeah.
can get on board with the idea that you should take something off of platforms if it's a direct order, a direct call to action. That's something that's already illegal according to the law
Yes.
of where that person is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can't be telling people to break a law. That would be illegal.
Or also allow people to break a law. I don't think, for example, with all of the free speech that, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so just to name a very specific example, there's a big controversy about specifically Telegram. Should they allow end-to-end encryption without rules, without any exceptions? And right now they allow governments to be like, hey, Telegram,
Right, yeah.
this guy has a court order or whatever, and then they can release
Yeah.
information, right?
Or
And
just say we suspect.
Mhm,
We just suspect.
We suspect, yes, and then they release, and so
Yeah.
there's a big controversy around this.
Yeah. That's like I don't really know what
You
the
don't see-
protocol that Telegram uses, but like people, if you're using encrypted stuff, go for something open source like Signal or Wire, something that the
Yeah.
code can be audited. I don't know enough about cybersecurity, but I feel like if it's open source, there's less likely that there's like I think the protocols are pretty autonomous and there's no database of everything
Yeah.
that could be unencrypted, but maybe I'm completely wrong, and if I
Yeah,
am,
yeah.
then let me know.
So this takes me to I guess it's a very ancient idea.
Yeah.
I can't really point to like, oh, this tradition said this, but
Yeah.
not gonna even try. So wisdom, for years, it has been kept as very precious and very valuable and very elitist for some reasons.
Yeah.
And I feel, I mean, is it a Jung quote? I'm gonna attempt to quote someone
Wow.
again, even after all of this failure,
we're the
bro.
worst on this episode.
Beware of unearned wisdom. So
Yeah.
I think that points in the direction that there's some ideas or information that's powerful in a lot of ways, and that should be dealt with responsibility or cautious or awareness of that it can be used in the wrong ways, or it can be used for non-good purposes.
Yeah.
And so I guess the same thing with technology. Like what you just said right now might sound like a tip for bad guys. Like don't, like
Right. Yeah. I'm just inserting. Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also thinking like, hey, if someone gives a direct order and then you go and do that, who's the one that's breaking the law? I mean, I guess I don't know, but I guess I mean, this is me being so ignorant, but it's illegal to say someone should kill you or something like that. That's illegal. Right?
I
So,
think
but in
so.
my mind, the person who goes and does the thing is far more responsible than the person who typed it out.
Yeah, threats are illegal, and you can proceed with
Threats are,
legal
yeah, yeah,
action.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And in all countries,
No, I don't think so.
yeah.
But also, if you,
Cuz that's what hip hop was, right? Like, and maybe I'm getting weird with this, but
mm-hmm,
like I remember watching that documentary, The Art of Rhyme, you know, and you have people saying that, and this was the story told. I don't, you know, I'm not saying that this is this is the whatever. I don't know if this is the narrative of that thing is that people took kind of the some of the violent energy that was that made sense. You know what I mean? We, you know, without going into politics, but there's just like this sense of urgency and you know, this high amounts of energy, and instead of turning it to violence, they turned it into words and poetry that is still like violent words and poetry. Like, I'm like, when you see freestyles and stuff like that from, you know, 90s or whatever, you know, some of it's just like, I'm the best, but some of it's also like, I'm going to destroy you, and all these like intense, you know, also talking about the police and whatever. I'm not making a political statement. I'm just saying this
yeah,
was an act of taking violence and putting it through words instead of actually doing the action.
mm-hmm,
And it's like, you know, saying something is totally different than
then
doing it,
action.
than
Yeah,
than
yeah.
an action.
And
Yeah.
this gets very political very quickly, for
Yeah,
sure.
we can get rid of, I don't know, my mind just was thinking about that. I don't think that's super political. It's just talking about the history of hip hop.
Mm-hmm,
But what
mm-hmm.
I'm saying is, um, I don't know. I guess I'm just confused. I'm just really genuinely thinking through the like making a direct action of violence
Yeah,
to it. Because like, what have you
yeah,
actually
yeah.
done? You've told
Mm-hmm.
other people to commit a crime. You're not committing
Yes.
the crime, and if nobody does the crime, which they should all know
Mm-hmm.
is a crime, then there's no injury.
I agree. I agree. And I do think that if you're for free speech, you can't simultaneously be pro hate speech,
Well, yeah, this is hot terms,
right?
hot terms.
Oh, yes, dude, we're gonna get flagged.
No, no.
No, I mean, if you believe that some ideas or even a call to action is a oh man, okay, I have to say this taking into account all that we've been discussing for the last 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But um, okay, I I'm processing the argument in my head.
Can
I
I say
think
something
I've got
really
it.
quick?
Yeah, please give me more time.
What is it when someone says like, "Oh, there's bad people in this country. We need to start bombing them. We need to hunt the bad guys down and bomb them." That's not only a direct call to action, but that's saying like, "No, we're gonna go do this, and people are gonna die." How is that not a criminal? How is that not dangerous call to action speech? Because we believe that the political decisions
Yeah, I
are
agree.
some collection of like agreed upon crimes that we're like, yeah, well, these crimes are ones that we all think or should happen. So if you say we should go to war, then you're just saying it. You're saying the crime,
Yeah, yeah, because the
the good
government
kind of
has
crime. You're saying the good kind
the
of crime should happen.
yeah,
The good kind of murders, the good kind of
the legal kind of murder.
legal kind of murder,
So
right? Because that's
they've
legal.
they've got the
That's the
monopoly
difference.
of
That's
yeah,
the
they're the
difference.
only ones who can legally execute violence. And
That's the
so
difference. Is the legality is the difference. So if so
yeah,
the term so then yeah, it really is like if something
yeah,
is ordered on the platform on any platform that is telling people to do a crime, then the problem is the criminal element of it. But still,
so
nobody's
there
done the
the
thing yet, have they?
exactly. That's why I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Okay,
Yeah.
If you're 100% free speech, no dangerous ideas at all, only even call to actions,
Yeah.
even specific call to actions, not dangerous until action is taken.
Can you define? Can we rephrase it without saying free speech? Because I feel like it's just like such a loaded.
You can say anything.
Okay. Just totally, you can say anything you
You
want.
can say anything. You can say, post, anything, anywhere.
But the idea politically, or I would say, I don't know, like the free speech topic, I think excludes calls to violence, direct calls to violence. I think even then that's taken out, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong.
Meaning where? Meaning in
Meaning that it's illegal.
anywhere it happens?
Meaning that it's illegal
okay.
to say,
To threat someone.
to threaten somebody.
Threaten, yeah.
Yeah. And if you say someone
agree,
should
okay.
do something, are you threatening them, or are you saying other people should threaten and do the action?
I don't know. Can you say that again?
I'm sure people are getting really angry. Like your logic is, I'm just genuinely here trying to think through this in my limited,
Yeah.
my limited, dumbheaded, ignorant space. But if you are saying, "Hey, other people, go do this crime," are you? I mean, and I would have to, I guess, read the legal terminology of you can't threaten somebody. But wouldn't that be you saying, like, I'm going to do this to you? I personally am going to kill you. That's a threat. But if you say, hey, other people, you should go kill this person. Is that a threat? Or is that like an opinion, like saying, hey, someone else be a criminal? Because I'm not.
Well, if you're manipulating that other person through, like, if you're buying them, if you're somehow blackmailing them, or even psychologically manipulating them, then you are the author of the crime.
If you're saying, hey, I'll pay you to go do this.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's...
But even if you're saying, go do this, or I will X and Y, that's also you are manipulating that person.
Okay, but if you say that, that's where I say then that's a threat, because you're saying or X and Y.
Okay.
But if you're not saying or X and Y, you're just saying like, hey, somebody should do this crime, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You're saying I'm not going to do this crime because I'm not a criminal.
Right. For example, with the last president, a lot of people were joking about actually
he should be
terminating his life. Yes. So how is that?
True.
How are those?
I saw some of that.
Yeah. Even some people holding like a fake head.
That was the controversy.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that sounds like what we're talking about, but and it didn't have that conclusion.
Yeah.
It was right.
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is, like, look, we started this convo, and I wanted to go to the extreme and steel man it, and I ended up just kind of being like, is that that? Look, I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying anybody should be saying people should do crimes or saying you should kill or you should do whatever.
But where do you draw the line?
But I'm confused. Obviously, I'm confused about a lot of things. But like, if you're saying that,
Me too.
You're saying, hey, I just still don't understand really how someone saying, hey, someone else should do this crime is you doing anything wrong yet.
Same.
You haven't done anything.
I agree.
Is that like a horrible thought to have? Yeah, it's a horrible thought to have.
Yeah.
And it's a horrible thing to say. And you should be like, hey, we don't say that in our, like, you shouldn't say that. And lots of people should be like, you shouldn't say that. What if I said that about you? And I'll say that about you. Someone should do that to you. And then you're like, oh, okay, never mind. Don't say that. Never mind, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll delete the thing. I feel, you know what I mean? That was...
But that's the thing. Where do you draw the line? How do you know what you can and cannot say? I feel like with specific actions, it's way easier to draw the line. But since no one knows the answer to this, No one knows the definite way to go about this. And
Yeah.
so this is something that in a collective, um, also, we're all trying to be on the same page about this and we can't.
Yeah.
So what I think is if you allow all ideas except very specific call to actions, then there's no problem. Like you only look at actions and then a judge can decide or anyone can decide for themselves.
Yeah.
But if you start,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's
still
like,
at the place where it's like, unless you're saying I'm going to do this thing, that's where I say like, yeah, that shouldn't be, you can't say that you're going to do, that's a threat. But
Sure.
where I already start to get confused is when you're saying like somebody out there should do this.
yeah,
Because
that's just a horrible thought. And so
It's
we
horrible.
need to allow horrible thoughts, because if we don't, the line gets very blurry
someone has to
and
determine,
danger is coming.
someone has to determine a line.
Yeah.
But for the
Yeah.
sake of moving on with the art, like and what have we done?
I would also add that one also positive thing that I see in just allowing all ideas is
Yeah.
this position where for example, just an example, but I'm against lies, but I will fight for your right to lie, or I hate that thought, but I want you to express it if you want to.
I think we barely even made it from the starting point of what is the most extreme thing, and I kind of got caught in the weeds because I am trying to think about it on the spot, and I got confused, and we kind of went around it. It's interesting to think about, but there's so much discussion we can do, I think, about moving that forward. I think what I'll do is say, look, I'm gonna let my own confusion go and just say, let's say all calls to violence and laws, even if you're saying somebody, just everything that's a direct action, let's say, all right, we've agreed, you just take it off. You like you said, you can determine what the laws are in the area, and like that's you're advocating for a crime. So what okay. So then I think that leaves lots of room, and I think we could probably pick this up next time we chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like we ran into uncertain territory. But yeah, it's exciting.
I will say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't always find people who are not only able to bring ideas forward, but who can really accurately provide attribution. And I think that one thing we did really well in this episode is we did a really good job at saying quotes and like verbatim saying what they were and attributing them properly. You don't see that very often.
Yes. So the accuracy in quoting. So we
high.
need to say this. We do a lot of research, of course, and like trying to find the quotes and being very careful that we don't say anything wrong.
100%.
Sometimes we find quotes that are attributed to other people, and we find that out.
Yes.
We're like, who really said this?
Yep.
Yeah, and we spend like
We also
crazy
figure
amounts
out
of time.
how to pronounce the name of who the author is based on the geographical where they're from and
Exactly.
where
That's
they were
something that I've been
educated.
working very hard on, and I've been also taking like some language lessons to get it right, especially with
Beautiful.
the more German,
The Germanic
like
and
the Germanic last names.
for
Exactly.
sure, surnames.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another great conversation. I feel like kind of walked around in circles, but I kind of brought forward my honest thoughts at the time, and so I can feel good about that. I look forward to actually steel manning when we find a point to really. I feel good about saying just call to action. I can trip on that myself and figure out where I go. But let's move forward we
And
established that.
I feel
I'm
like
looking
there's
forward
more
to it.
exploration to be had in exactly this idea. So yeah, let's do
Yeah,
it
right on. Well, I will see you at 32.
on the next one for sure. Thanks for the space.
Have a good one.